What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the I'm Not Lucky, I'm Blessed podcast, the show where we celebrate young entrepreneurs on their achievements, and then we inspire up and coming entrepreneurs to go make profit using their passion. And as usual, I'm your host, Lucky the Most. Enjoy the show. Y'all would think I've been doing this for a while. I should get this intro right, but still make a mistake with it. It's live. We just skip it rolling. But on today's episode, as usual, I have a special guest in the building with me. We got the one and only Doris Christina Beechman in the building.
Oh, you got it all.
I got the full name. And Doris is a real estate agent, and she's here to share some of our real estate knowledge with us. Mm-hmm. I myself am very interested for today's episode because I've been hearing a lot about real estate. People say it's this, it's that, and it's hard. Sometimes I feel like people do it mostly for social media to get maybe follows or, just to talk about their business. And it would be nice to sit with someone that, number one, we live in the same community.
Right. And
that's one thing I admire about you. You love giving back to the community. So I feel like this would be a good privilege for us to learn from you. So whatever knowledge you have to drop, please feel free to, leave it here, okay?
Okay, will do. I'm going to do my best. So as you said, I don't know if I should look at you, look at the camera.
No,
look at you. Okay.
Don't worry about that.
Right. So, like you said, Doris Christina Beechman. I'm a licensed real estate agent in Massachusetts and in Rhode Island.
Yep.
I specialize in buying, selling, and for rentals. So if you're a landlord who has a property that needs to be filled, that's vacant, I can help you with that. And I've also have some experience with investment properties. So if you're a buyer that's going around and you're looking to now make money from purchases, I can help you with that too.
Awesome.
I started real estate in 2019.
Right before COVID.
Right before COVID. And so as you were speaking and you were talking about the introduction, when I'm out in the field and I meet some of the senior agents, one thing that they always say to me is, oh, the market's never been like this before. The market's never been like this before. And I feel like I've been hearing that ever since I started. I'm like, okay.
I've been hearing that for a long time, too.
Yeah.
And you know what I wonder? What does that mean? Because I'm a layman, you get, right? Because I don't know anything about the real estate. But when you hear people say that, you start to wonder, what's the market like?
Yeah.
So sitting down with you, we want to know, what does that mean when they say the market's never been the same?
Okay.
Yeah.
So right now, the interest rates are really high.
Gotcha.
And the inventory is really low. And so that makes it hard for buyers.
Yeah.
It's challenging for sellers sometimes because there's less buyers out there that can actually afford to buy. But then sometimes you'll see them come down on their prices just a little bit or give a seller's credit.
Yeah.
But then you also see the buyers that are there. They're like, I don't care. I just want to get it. And they're smart because with real estate, the value just always raises. You know what I mean? It's the securest investment that you can ever make, and it's proven time and time again. Real estate is the best investment that you can ever make. So going back to your question about what that means, it's just I guess you could say the environment.
Yeah.
Back in 2019 or 2020, for example, interest rates were so low. And there were buyers all over the place. You would make an offer and you would be competing against 40 or 50 other offers.
Yeah.
So that, I guess, is something that's unknown. It's a little bit harder for me to say what that means exactly because I'm in it and I'm kind of just going with the flow.
Yep.
But it can be challenging sometimes.
I got you.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question. Mm-hmm. So when you say, because for me, I want us to go as lame, a lot of words you use here that, in real estate terms that I don't feel like I understand, and also my listeners too. So if we can break it down. Sure. For example, you said the interest rates are high and then the inventory was low. Yes. So what is the inventory we're talking about? When you say the interest rates were high, how high are you talking about, That's kind of yes. Hope you don't mind doing that.
No, okay. I don't mind at all. So the interest rate is partly determined by the government, and with inflation going on and everything like that, what's happening is that they're trying to control spending.
Gotcha.
And in order to control the spending, or how they believe they're controlling the spending, is they're driving the rate. So they're making it more expensive to shop.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they'll add like points to the rate. And as they add points to the rates, now your mortgage is more expensive. So if you have a mortgage, let's say at 7%.
Yeah.
Versus a mortgage at 5%, it's going to cost you an extra $800, $1,000 per month. And that's not money that's going towards paying down the principal, which is the actual mortgage itself. Yeah. That's just going to the bank.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then with inventory, inventory just meaning the supply. For that, how can I explain this? Like, there's no more land. They're not making any more land, right? So you see them, they're developing all over the place. They're turning 3 families into condos, but there's no more land. So as a seller,
especially in Boston,
yes,
everything.
Yeah. So as a seller, you're gonna sell your house, but then where are you gonna live? Where are you moving to? So that kind of slows down the process too, and you'll see like a lot of people, they're moving out of state, and a lot of buyers, they can't afford Boston, so you'll see them go out to like Attleboro, even Rhode Island, Taunton, like moving out. And I think that's great, because at least you're getting in where you can, and it's gonna have its return.
Wow. Sounds like a tough time. It's like the price is high, and it is still not a house to buy. Like, it's not like, okay, the price is high, but like there are a lot of houses that you can still buy. And it's like, even if you have the money, they're still not.
Right. And then I try to like encourage my buyers to be open-minded. So like when we look at properties, we look at basements that have high ceilings.
Yeah.
Or maybe if the attic is unfinished, like is there potential to put unit there. The city of Boston has a programs for additional units where they'll help you to pay to build the additional unit. So as long as the space is there, then maybe your single family can become a 2-family, or 2-family, a 3-family. In the building, there's definitely ways around it.
That makes sense.
It's got to be open-minded. Or sometimes it could just be cosmetics. Like, are you willing to paint? Are you willing to work with a contractor to move walls around? Sometimes it's not for every buyer, but I just always encourage the buyers to have an open mind.
I love that. I love that. That's good. Because it's like, hey man, we have to make a way regardless of the situation, and one of the ways is by them being open-minded,
right?
To move things around. You can't just be, this is what I want, and that's
and
it.
Get stuck.
Yeah,
especially in this market. You got to be open-minded.
I love that.
Yeah.
So like, how do you survive in this market? What are things that you're doing? Like, one of them, you advise your clients to be open-minded. Like, what are ways that you have used to survive in this tough economy right now, or like in the real estate world?
I cannot take the credit all for myself. I love my brokerage, Thumbprint Realty. They're constantly giving training weekly.
Gotcha.
So we're meeting with different lenders to learn about new programs. And then we have this thing called road trips, where the various agents explain situations that they have had, hard situations, and how they came over it, how they overcame the situation. And so I feel like I'm constantly in the know, able to come up with new strategies, just lean on my team if I ever need help. It's definitely not on my own, and I'm appreciative of what they're bringing to the table too.
Constantly coming up
learning.
with new ways to, that's amazing. That's like the best thing you can do for someone, and the fact that you don't have to worry about going out there to get it. But they bring it to you, and it's not up to you. Like, do you want to use this or you don't?
Yes, exactly. One of the other main things is to just try to get on the listing side or the selling side of things.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So, okay. Thanks for sharing that. So, number one, how you're surviving right now, it's by your company's
leaning on the team.
Leaning on the team, yeah.
Definitely leaning on the team. Most of the deals lately have been in-house. Gotcha. So with my colleagues' listings or vice versa, we're leaning on each other and kind of like feeding each other.
Teamwork makes the dream work. I love that. Yeah. Okay. So how did you end up in the real estate world?
So I have wanted to be a real estate agent for a long time.
Really?
Very long time. I can't even.
Why?
I have an extensive background in sales, and I've always done really well in sales.
Wow. We should have another podcast on sales. Just sales. I love sales. I feel like it's such an important skill that everybody needs to have, but sorry about that.
Right. Yeah, no, you're fine. We're talking. Yeah, so I just figured, why not real estate, right?
Yeah.
What finally pushed me was becoming a mom. So once my son was born, I just got the push to actually like figure out, okay, what do I need to do? Yeah. And that's, take the classes, then take the test, pass the test, find a brokerage and all that stuff. So becoming a mom definitely gave me a big push. And I'm so grateful because real estate is very demanding, but if you do it right, it gives you the flexibility. So like this is my son's third year as playing football. And I've been team mom the first 2 years. It's 5 days a week, 2 hours a day. And I feel very blessed to be able to like give back in that way, because there's like other moms that can't do it because they have to work, When I was working at the bank, because I did sales in the bank before real estate, there was a swimming class that I think the swimming class started at 4:45. Yeah. And I just needed to leave work like a half an hour early. And they were like, no. You can't do that. So with real estate, now I can move my appointments around him and myself. And it's been a huge blessing.
Gotcha.
It's been a huge blessing.
How does the real estate process work? So, like when either you're buying a house or you're selling a house, and for both, you work with both of them, people that are buying and selling, you get, right? Mm-hmm. So how do they find the house, and how do you come in, how do you come into the picture?
Okay, so when you know that you want to buy a house, you should reach out to me as your real estate agent.
Or sell too, they reach out to you.
Or sell, yep. I'm going to speak from the buyer's aspect first. Okay. People will come to me at different stages, and I'll ask some questions to figure out where you are, and then I'll pair you with the lender. And the lender will go into more details, like things like debt to income ratio and savings, because if you're doing an FHA, which is great, you put down 3.5%. So you want to make sure that you have that money saved. So first steps is always just to reach out to me, and then I'll guide you. And based on what your pre-approval looks like, the pre-approval is the document that the lender is going to generate to say, yes, this person is qualified to purchase. Then we can start looking at bedrooms, locations, and things like that, because different towns have different tax rates, and so you don't want to put the cart before the horse. Yeah.
That's like saying you don't want to go look for a house before you have to get all those pre-work done first before you go. Makes sense, yeah.
And for that, you'll need the 2 years of the income tax, the completed tax returns. You'll need the pay stubs, the IDs, and stuff like that. Yeah. And then from a seller's point, I always like to meet sellers at the property. So you reach out to me, and I'll ask for a meeting at the property. Yeah. Before that, I'll ask you what renovations you've done to the property, because a lot of times sellers will rehab, and that information is going to be better than what's on public records, because public records might show that you only have 2 bathrooms. You really have 3 or 4. So now the value of your house is going to go up. Yeah. So when I meet with you, I'll have something called the CMA, comparative market analysis, and it'll show you what other properties in your area have sold for.
Yeah.
And also what properties are on the market in the area, just to give you an idea of what the house is worth. But I also like to talk about things like how much you owe on the house currently, and what it's going to look like when you sell, because when you sell, you have to pay taxes.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot of pre-work on that side of it too. Yeah.
Okay, so from a buyer's point of view, was there any point that you couldn't help someone get a home, and what were the reasons that you couldn't?
So, like, especially now, there are a few buyers that, you know, we struggle with. And I would say it's just around being flexible, what I spoke to in the beginning, and being realistic with today's market. Yeah. Like, oh, I want a 2-family. Oh, and it has to have land. And
you don't have a good.
It has to be near the commute around. And it's like, your pre-approval is $400,000. I don't know where. So, like for me, I'm a person, I'm always trying to grow and to improve. I know that I always have room for growth. Yeah. And so I'm a nice person and I don't like to be harsh. And so I struggle with that sometimes. And then a lot of times too, as part of the process, you have to take them out in the market so they can see what they can get for their dollar. Yeah. And some learn quicker than others. Yeah. For me, it's better when they get it quick and we can get on the same page and get moving. But that would be like a challenge. That's definitely a challenge sometimes. Yeah.
Okay. So what was the process like for you becoming certified, becoming a real estate agent? So we've talked about why you went in, and you said, you've always wanted to do this, but after the birth of your son, it's like, okay, I need something flexible so I can really spend time with my son also, and, make money. And you went into it. But like, what was the process like?
Okay, so the first step is you have to take the class. My class, I'm a very frugal person. My class, I looked for it and I found it on Groupon. So I think I saved like $150 there.
Really?
Yeah. I found it on Groupon. It's a 40-hour class in the state of Massachusetts, because every state has different requirements. But in Massachusetts, you need the 40-hour.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, is it 40 or 80 now? Forgive me if I'm saying the wrong time, because it's been some time now.
COVID happened, so things changed. Let's blame it on COVID.
But I remember I did mine in 2 weekends, and yeah, I just banged it out. Just
I love that.
Because there's some people who's doing it over like months. Yeah. But he was already born, and I already had the full-time job.
Yeah.
And so I think it was like around the President's Day holiday.
And you just stayed inside.
Yep, I did I did Saturday, Sunday, then 1 weekend off, and then the next week it was Friday, Saturday. Took that class. Once you pass that class, you do the application to take the test with the state. And for that, you need an attorney to sign off on you. You need references. You need 4 references, one of them being from an attorney with the state, a licensed attorney with the state. And the class was challenging. Not the class, the test was challenging.
Gotcha.
Because I felt like everything that they talked about in the class was not covered on the test. Is just like 2 different things. And then once you're in the field, that's more what was covered in the class. So no disrespect to the class, but didn't really help me with the test at all. The test is 150 questions. Ooh. It's about 3 hours, I think. I think they gave you 4 hours to take it. Part of it is national, and then part of it is state. The smaller portion is with the state.
Yeah.
I passed the state portion right away. The national one I had to take a few times. So if you're someone out there in your journey and you're having a hard time with the test, don't give up if it's something that you really want to do. Just keep pushing. There are a lot of resources. For me, the best resource was online. They have like YouTube videos, so that really helps me.
I like that.
And then once you're licensed, you pick a brokerage. I chose my brokerage because they have a nonprofit part. And like you said, I love giving back to the community.
Yeah.
So Christmas time, we're giving out gifts to the community, to the children. Back to school, we just had a backpack drive. Constantly doing fundraisers for these events. So that's how I chose my brokerage. They were local, and it was a brokerage that's constantly giving back.
Like using one stone to kill two birds.
I guess
you're making money and also giving back to the community, which feels really good.
It does feel really good.
Yeah,
it does feel really good.
Yeah, I like companies like that. That it's who they are. You understand, right? Giving back, it's not something you have to go tell someone. Hey, I'm thinking about we should do this, but just naturally, it's part of their values and principles. You know, so you automatically just do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. And so for me, it lined up perfect like that. Like as I had failed the test so many times, and then I saw the video from the broker, and I was like, that's where I'm going to work. And the next time I took the test, I passed. So it happened like that.
It happens.
Yeah.
Those times you were failing that test, what was going through your mind, like, you know, and how were you able to still come back and do it again?
There's a movie with Kevin Hart where I think he was trying to get his GED. And
the school movie.
Did you see that? And he was like, I'm going to take it again. I'm going to take it again. So I first watched that movie around that time, and I felt like such an idiot. I was like, I'm not telling people again that I failed. I can't tell them again that I failed. So
why is life like this?
Oh my God, it's funny because the last time I took the test, no one even knew that I was going to take the test, just in case.
If I fail, I just keep
it to myself. And then I passed. Everybody was surprised and happy for me. But what's going through my head? At the end of the test, they give you a breakdown of what areas you did well in and what areas you struggled in. Yeah. So my strategy was to study in the areas where I didn't do good. And then it would literally, like, they would just flip. So what ended up happening is, in order to reschedule the test, you have to give 48-hour notice. And I forgot to reschedule. I told myself that I wasn't ready to take the test. But each test costs $50.
Wow.
So I said, you know what? I'm just going to go in for practice, like a practice test. And I ended up passing. So just like get out of your own way. Yeah, like calm down. Don't work yourself up in your head, because if you study, you know, you're taking the right steps, it's gonna happen. Yeah.
It's like I'm gonna share a story. Back in college, a friend of mine, when he went for his road test, you know, he quietly went. He didn't tell anyone he was going. You get right, and then he went and failed and came back. So I think someone knew he failed. So, but it was very good. He didn't want to tell anyone. You know, he quietly went failed. He did it 3 times.
Oh my gosh!
And failed all 3 of them.
Yeah.
So when we finally heard us, so I think he was the one who told us later on when he finally passed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's like, oh, I got a license. Oh, well, he's like, but I've been failing it. Like,
oh, he comes fast.
And he didn't tell no one. And it was interesting because he just thought, like, I don't have to read for it. It's driving. I can just common sense and pass it. Yeah. But when he's like, nah, man, it is different. So
it really
just reminded me of that moment, but it was very funny.
It's funny because it's important to have your village around you and people that are going to encourage you and stuff like that. But I'm learning, I feel like, as I become older, to like have a balance between keeping stuff to yourself and keeping it with God. And so, but it was still funny story. And it's good when you can laugh about the situations. I know.
And you talk about encouragement from people, you know, like when you started your journey, was there any point where you needed encouragement but you couldn't find it, or, you know, you struggled with people believing in you on this path you were on?
So first, thank God for my mom. Yes. My mom is the best. Like, she's my number one supporter.
Fact.
Anything that I say that I want to do, she's like, okay, how can I help you? And then, like, at the time, my best friend, she's still my best friend. I love her too. she was like, "Oh, are you sure?" Because she's in insurance, and she's worked in insurance for over 10 years, but hasn't been able to pass the test. More so because she's so afraid that she won't even go test.
She won't get out of her own way.
She won't get out of her own way. And she's like, "Are you sure those tests, they're so hard? Da, 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 da. If you're going to do it, then da, 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 da." And I'm just like, "Oh, wait, don't just, I got this." Yeah. So, I hope I'm answering your question. Yes, I receive support.
Yeah.
And it's like you always have to remember, even myself, you always have to remember to like block out the negativity.
Yeah.
I saw a video the other day. I think it might have been Jay-Z. And he said that don't listen to other people because they're afraid themselves. I don't know. I'm probably butchering it, but just you just sometimes you have to be on your path by yourself. Encourage yourself.
Yeah, encourage yourself.
Raylan,
be like your number one fan, you know, and then any other person is extra. Right? Yeah.
Right.
Something I learned about believing in yourself or people believing in you. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Two kinds of people. There's the one that started off first, and when he started his craft, everyone believed in him. And then the other guy, no one really believed in him. Everyone was like, "Why are you doing this? Stop doing this. Stop doing this." So the guy that people believed in him got carried away by people always been there for him. And it's just that there's a difference when people don't believe in you. You have to prove someone wrong. And when they already believe in you, you just feel like there's nothing to prove anymore.
Right.
So this guy that they didn't believe in eventually made something for himself. And the one that they believed in actually didn't make a lot for himself. So at the end of the day, when they stopped believing in this guy and now believed in the one they didn't believe in, and the guy that they believed in was complaining that y'all don't believe in me, y'all don't believe in me, and they told them we believed in you our whole life, but you never gave anything to us. You get right, and then the guy that they didn't believe in now they believe in, you know. Everybody now believes in him. Well, he told them, "I don't need your belief to.
Right.
I don't need your belief is okay, but if you don't believe in me, you understand, right?
Yeah.
I'm still cool." So I learned something from it that honestly, as much as we want people to believe in us, it's okay to start life without no one believing. And if along the line they believe in us, blessing, you get it, right? But everyone should learn to be their number one fan,
right?
Find their own flames and keep it going, because if you depend on people to believe in you, and once they stop believing in you, it affects you.
Right.
Yeah, so it's good to just mentally prepare yourself to have no believers.
Yeah.
In the start, because why should I believe in you at first? You get right.
Right.
And then when you've proven something, because once they believe in you, you become relaxed and you don't have something to prove anymore. Yeah, so that's for anybody that is struggling with, they don't believe in me. Trust me, you really don't need anyone to believe in you at first.
Right.
Just keep it going. They'll come along the line. Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
I'm glad we agreed on something. So you passed your exam and you're ready for the real estate world. Like, you know, like a business. Every business has a target market. You get right, a specific audience they wanted to cater to. Did you have that in mind? Like, you know what, I wanted to come out and just focus on this kind of people, or you were like, you know what, I'm just going to work with everybody.
Yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea that real estate was such a monster that it is. Like, there's the commercial, there's the luxury, right? And then I ended up clicking with first-time home buyers. And I think I like that part of it because there's a lot of me sharing the knowledge and guiding them through a process that's unknown for them.
First time, yes.
That's what allowed me to succeed in sales in the past.
Gotcha.
Like, hey, there's this thing here. You don't know about it. I'm going to teach you about it. Listen to you. Figure out your needs and your wants. Pair them together to get you in the best, position. And we go from there. So I think that's how so I had no idea, to answer your question. But I love working with first-time home buyers. I love working with first-time buyers.
Is that like, how many % of the clients you've worked with are first-time home buyers?
I would probably say around 70%.
70%.
Yeah, 70%.
You think that's like something that you should maybe really, really focus on? You ever thought of that, or you just?
I have thought about it. No, to be honest with you, I have thought about it. I want to, and like I said, that my brokerage pushes all the time.
Yeah,
you want to be on the seller side. You want to be on the seller side, because first-time home buyers with the interest rates and the inventory, it's harder and it's harder for them.
Yeah.
So I want to be more on the seller side. And then, wait, there was another part to your question that you just asked me when I first started. Oh, I wanted to be on luxury.
Luxury, gotcha,
yeah.
Gotcha.
But luxury is a whole nother beast there. Like with the luxury, you kind of have to know the people and, you know, to get in. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
I hope that answers the question.
It did. I had two things from there. One, luxury, and two, first-time home buyers. Mm-hmm. I feel like those, you know, you're likely to work with those people, you know, guiding them and giving them advice, which is good. I feel like, you know, every first-time home buyer needs that person that
will hold their hand,
really care for them, and not just treat you like an oldie in the field. You understand, right? I think we all need that.
Assuming that they know,
Yes.
Yeah, because there's a lot you don't know at first.
Yes, yes. And also you kind of like do luxury. That was what you chose.
Luxury is what I wanted. And so my broker, he was awesome, where he would bring me around to the new construction sites. Gotcha. And I could see the properties being built, or like a higher clientele that he might have. What it's like on that side of things.
Yeah. So are you doing luxury right now, or that's what you want?
Nope. Still right now, I wouldn't say. I have a couple luxury rental listings.
Yeah.
But not on the buying side.
Gotcha. Yeah. What's holding you back from going into luxury?
Like what we said before, getting out of your own way.
Yeah.
This is starting to feel like a little therapy session.
No, that's. I mean, we're having a conversation, right? And, but truth is, I'm trying to get as much that I can for the listeners too, so they can not get in their own way.
Right.
You get it, right?
Yeah.
So it just. Should I use the word unfortunate that you're the one sitting there?
It's what we prayed for, right?
It's what we prayed for, and like we said, let God's will be done.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So yeah, but like I'm learning from you too.
Okay, cool.
You get it, right? So I'm in my own way too. Mm-hmm. You get it? So we're both here to, like, you know, see how we can help ourselves.
Sure.
Yeah. So let me see. Let me give you an example of my own situation. I've honestly, like, I've been talking to a friend, and I've been telling him, like, I want to do more. Mm-hmm. You get it, right? Not just podcasts and not just exercise. I feel like there's a lot more that I can do, but I'm literally the one in my own way. Mm-hmm. I'm giving myself this excuses like, oh, my camera is not good.
It happens.
My microphone's not good. My this. People listen to me, and you know, and he's someone that I've known for a long period of time. I've known this, like, we've been working out even before Instagram, like, workout became this huge thing now, you get, right?
Yep.
So he's like, and he gave me an advice. He's like, take it back. Just go back to those old days when we didn't even have good phones and we decided to use the phones we had
to
make it happen, because we really wanted to make it happen. Mm-hmm. You get, right? Mm-hmm. And we knew how those moments felt like when you're doing something with little, you get, right? When you're trying to chase a dream with so little. Mm-hmm. But now it's like we're so. I want to start a dream with big camera.
Right.
Like, when have you ever started this dream with a big camera?
Yeah.
You get, right.
You gotta crawl before you can walk.
Before you can walk. You get? So I had that conversation with him, and I'm like, wow, I think I needed to hear this. You get, right. So it's the same thing we're, you know, like, sitting here, we're talking about, you know, we being our own way. You get, right? Like, what is that thing that you, like, you know, I think I can't do it because of this, but, like, really, is that what's holding you back, or you just...
I think you just spoke to a lot of it, right? You got to crawl before you can walk, things that we've been hearing growing up. And even as I say it, I know that it shouldn't be, but, like, fear, right?
Yeah.
Fear of failure, fear of rejection.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is in various parts of life. Like, when I went for the license, where it was like, I can do anything. Like, if it can be done, then I can do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what happens along the way where you lose some of that drive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that was literally my mindset when I went for the license, and when I got the license. It was like, if anybody can do it, then I can do it too. you know? And so there are definitely practices and activities, stepping outside of your circle.
Yeah.
That would be necessary for me to like cross over.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something that I've started. I'm trying to start doing is stacking up little wins. You get right?
Yeah.
Count the little wins. Like little win could be also being just waking up and being grateful that you are awake. That's a win.
Yeah.
You get right? And if you walk with that mindset, because I was thinking life was bigger. Like there was a point in my life where I didn't even value waking up anymore. You get right? Because I got carried away by so many things that I'm trying to chase.
Yeah.
And I got humbled a few days ago and realized that even the fact that you woke up is a win, bro. That's the biggest win.
It is.
Right? So if that win can inspire you, you get right. Let the fact that you woke up today, you didn't fail. You woke up and you succeeded. You understand, right? Let that be something that, because motivate you to be great. It's a little win, but
there's some people that didn't get it.
Didn't get it. They failed. Literally, that's what we're gonna say. But sorry to say, but that's kind of like what it feels like. You get right, and how many people would pay to wake up today, and you think because you're not good enough. Do you know how many people that were qualified to wake up that didn't wake up, and you that have nothing, no camera, no nothing, you woke up and you just feel like
it's true.
So
it's true.
Humbled me. So I've been really like getting to the place where I'm just stacking little wins. Little win could be even sitting down with you and doing this podcast. You get
right
in and out. It's a win, and it slowly builds your confidence back. Because I got to a point where I wasn't counting little wins anymore. I was trying to go for big wins, and sometimes it's just like, hey man, you gotta start small.
Start small, yeah.
So
I think there's probably a lot of that pressure comes from like society and like seeing things on the phone, and it's just like, yeah, you want it now, and you gotta work hard for it. Yeah, put the work in.
For real.
Yeah. I was a little bit intimidated by the question at first, but I appreciate it now. So thank you.
Even for me too. I guess I needed to like I said, this is always, it's not just, it's a two-way thing in this way, right?
That's cool.
I'm unpacking you two, you're saying something like that's how it goes. So yeah.
Thank you.
And I've always been in that situations where I listen to people. I'm a personal trainer. So when I sit with people, I ask questions. You get right? Questions to really dig deep inside them. You understand, right? Because in order for you to change, we have to go inside and change something, So I'm always listening and asking why. Who you get, right? So it always puts me in that therapy. Even in a podcast, so most of the time I just say and ask questions. You get, right?
Yeah.
So in order for me to get that,
I remember when we first met and I left, I was like, oh my God, I just had an interview. That was I set up.
That's how my life. I feel everyone has an amazing story. And I just love to listen to people's stories. So cool. So it's not like I'm here trying to like, I'm just It
makes sense now. It's like coming full circle. Like, okay, this is his thing. It's your passion.
Yeah. Okay, so we just spoke about your target market and all that good stuff. And you spoke about sales, which is something that I value so much. Sales, the ability to first sell yourself, and then because I think that it's like one of the things that we take for granted. Sales, we think sales is how going outside and giving out phones, and I've had a horrible experience with sales. And I never took a sales class because I'm like, what do I want to sell? Understand, right? But now I'm in that position where I'm like, I'm selling myself every day. And not doing it intentionally is just the worst. So I've been on that, like, that trend on.
Why do you say the worst, though?
What?
You said it's just the worst?
Like, because, okay, I don't even know that I'm selling myself.
Okay.
You get it, right? So it's like, I can improve on this. How did I even say it? So there's a point that I never thought, like, conversations I was selling myself. You get it, right? Like, sale is so important in this world that even when you, for example, you ask someone out, you're selling yourself. Like, you're telling them what you can bring to the table. You get it, right? And we move around our daily lives without even knowing that this is happening.
Okay.
You get, right?
Yeah.
So which is like the worst, you understand, right? So for me now became like, okay, how can I learn this and sell myself better?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
Yes. So it's not like something, but just for me personally, that's how I felt like, you understand, right? Yeah. So let's go back to your sales background, because you said you brought some sales experience into real estate, and that's something that makes you stand out from your competitors, you know. So what, like, how did the sales background start for you? How did you go into sales?
How did I start in sales background? God, probably. He just put me there. And I did well because I took my product seriously. So what
was the product?
I was I'm dating myself. I took my product seriously. So I was selling cell phones with Singular Wireless.
Gotcha.
They are now AT&T.
Oh.
So before they were AT&T, they were Singular, and I dropped out of college, came home, I had to find a job.
Yep.
And oh my gosh, you're making me think back that drive.
Oh, you should.
I printed my resume, and I was in my car driving up and down the street looking for buildings.
Are you serious?
To pass out my resume.
Wow.
And I saw someone that I knew from the Boys and Girls Club. I used to work at the Boys and Girls Club. That's where I got my first job.
Gotcha.
The Boys and Girls Club as an education room counselor, like a junior counselor. And so my friend Kristen, I haven't talked to her in years, but at the time she was working at Singulars. Shout out to Kristen. Thanks, Chris. Because she told her supervisor, they got me in. Yeah. And I started at the bottom. And I constantly did so well that the first time I asked for a raise, they promoted me.
Wow.
And the manager at the time, he was pissed. He didn't want me to leave. He just wanted me to have the raise. But they promoted me, and then they promoted me, and I reached the highest that I could there.
Wow.
Before I eventually opened my own cell phone business.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. But that business, I was so, like, young, I guess I want to say, naive, to where I wasn't paying attention to the market, because looking back, people who were in business knew that there was a crash coming. Yeah. So I opened my business right before that crash in 2007, where there was like no money and everything was just,
Wow, 2007.
All right, back then, yeah. Like I said, I'm dating myself. But I had 2 T-Mobile locations, authorized dealers for T-Mobile. And so when that failed, like, I was devastated. That was the first time that and I didn't even know it. Yeah. It's when I went to go and get help and get healed. Yeah. I realize now that's when I first suffered from depression. Oh. Yeah. So I was low for years after that happened.
Can imagine.
Yeah, it hurt to feel like you've
come this far,
so high, and you're getting up and you're working and you're doing everything, and it's just like, duh, didn't you know it? The market was about to crash. You should have kept your money. And it was like,
how can you know it? How can you know it?
Well, now I know that there's experts that are studying the market, and so if I was paying attention, I probably would have been hesitant and not have done it. But then I wouldn't have had the experiences either. So everything happens. Everything happens for a reason. Yeah, everything happens for a reason.
And maybe God was saving you from something bigger,
Exactly. Like, and I know that for fact.
Now you know, like, that this is, so maybe when the big one comes, you can learn from that. And, sometimes it's just better we fail at the beginning stage. You understand, right? I was listening to a guy say, he's like, it's sad, but the best thing he would wish for his boys is to fail at a very early age. You understand, right? Fail at a very early age. You can get over that. You understand, right? But when you get to a certain age and you fail,
it's hard. It hurts. It's hard.
It hurts. Yeah. It hurts to bounce back and all that. So like,
you can't get back up the way you used to. It's true.
Wow.
It's true.
2 branches, T-Mobile.
Yeah. Yep. So we had one in Grove Hall.
Yeah.
And then we had one in Randolph and Memorial Parkway.
Wow.
Yeah.
how do we miss this part of the conversation? Wow.
I know. That was like another life ago.
I'm so interested now.
That was another life ago. Yeah.
So you started this as a, those, because I think I had the same chance I came across that company. Maybe it wasn't the same company that, those phone, right?
Telephones, yep.
Cell phones. I got a job with one of them, you understand? And that's one thing I told you, like, that I've had the opportunities and I took it for granted, you get, right? This is the same thing that made you, but I was in that same situation and I ran away from it. And now I'm here, like, wishing I want sales skills, and you're saying that's where you built your skills from. Because I got the chance after college, I applied for one of those jobs, and I didn't know it was that. I applied for a sales position, and that's what I got.
Yeah.
And my friends and I were like, we ain't doing that. We graduated, and why are we coming to cell phones?
It paid pretty good.
Really?
It paid really good. I remember, because I was young. I was still at home with mom.
Yeah.
And one of her friends did my taxes.
Oh, wow.
So her friend probably broke the confidentiality, but that's her friend. I love you, Auntie Toya. Told my mom, like, she's making more than you. Yeah, that's when my mom first started charging me rent. It was just like, okay, whatever, I don't care, and she made me start saving, so yeah, they were paying really good. I was making good money back then. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was the
especially for the age too.
Yeah, for the age too. Well, that's cool, man. That's cool. And then, how did you succeed in that environment?
So
what was the secret?
Was male dominated.
Yeah,
definitely male dominated. So when my name was being called and you looked around, it was mostly men.
Men, yeah.
But I dove into the product, so I knew it inside and out.
How do you do that?
Whenever there was downtime, they had this thing called Singular University.
Yeah.
So whenever there was downtime, I would just study. And if I took the course already, I would go back.
Take it again.
I'm
learning from that, man. I am writing that down. Going back to, whoa, I'm about to blow. Well, yeah, now I'm just thinking.
I'm gonna have to watch this tape again for myself too.
Just taking notes from you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. But yeah, I knew the information. I made sure that I knew the information inside and out. I took pride in seniors calling me like, "Hey, Doris, ABC, what do you think?" And just based on the knowledge that I had, I would give suggestions. And I was always getting Agent of the Month, or what was it? There's a thing for sales goals, baseline. They'd want you to pass the baseline, and we do it, and I would be able to provide good customer service by being knowledgeable.
Wow.
And so I did struggle, I can admit, and sometimes still, because I feel like with real estate, every single transaction is different. Mm-hmm. There's so many moving parts. So it's hard to, I struggle with feeling confident in that, knowing everything, because you never know what's going to happen. I had this one sale, it was a single family, before the interest rates went so high, but after they had come above 2, this family, they wanted to live in Boston. They born and raised in Mattapan, they wanted to be in Mattapan. They wanted to have their son in Mattapan. And I felt that. I'm born and raised in Mattapan, and it's like, how can I stay here? So they were so close. It was like, we're going to do this. So they were open to not having that perfect house, right? We find this house, it needs work, but they're down. Get an accepted offer. Mm-hmm. So I have my strategies to make our offer a little bit more appealing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we got the offer accepted. And before PNS, the HVAC catches on fire. So it's like, what do I do? What? And so this was my turn to speak on the road trip that I told you about earlier. Yeah. And it was like, what? Fire? Like, what do you do? So long story short, we were able to fix it. We got them a whole new HVAC system. Yeah. Thank God the house didn't burn down completely. We got everything covered under warranties. they're happy now. They still live in the house, and they send me pictures of the updates that they're making to it. But yeah, it makes it hard to have that same confidence in real estate, because with the cell phones, it was just like you can reference a big book.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like having a dictionary. When I was younger, I used to love to play with the encyclopedia. Yeah. Just flip through the pages. But with real estate,
there's guide.
So many moving parts. And that's why I say, like, I lean on my team a lot.
Yeah.
I definitely.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that.
Of course.
Thanks for going back a lot. I know you didn't want to, but thanks for doing that. It's all right. Just a question I want to ask. Okay. If you like it, should I try?
Let's go for it.
Okay. So you spoke about, after 2 of your, stores closed, and you were depressed. You get right?
Yeah.
I want to know, how did you get out of that situation? Like, because it was very difficult. I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine, like, what if, what you went through, your first 2 businesses all just crashed, and now you're blaming yourself, which is the worst. You get, right, that you feel like it's your fault. But, like, how did you able to get out of that and become this Doris that is sitting in front of me?
So it's been a journey.
Yeah.
It's been years of counseling, like therapy.
Therapy, yeah.
So when I first got my license, it was, again, I'm checking things off, right? And I'm doing what I said I want to do, right? Mm-hmm. I got my new car, because you have to have the car for the image for the clients. But this was before COVID, right? Yeah. So you still might have to drive your clients around. I had a hoopty. What was the hoopty? The little small black. My son named it Small Black. And I had to roll the window down to open the door right before I passed the test. Well, when I passed the test, okay? So everything's going well for me. I got the brokerage that I want. I passed the test. I got the car. Everything. And I'm like, why am I not happy? So I signed myself up for therapy to try to, like, figure it out what was going on. And that's when I realized that I suffered from depression. So she was able to help me, bridge some of those gaps. And even still then, fast forward, things, the pandemic, the interest rates and all that stuff, things are still not where I see they should be, right? New therapist, because the other one went private practice. I miss her so much. I'm talking to her, and I'm, like, breaking down, like, what's wrong? There's something not wrong. Like, tears, boogies, everything, right? Mm. And now I have to pick up my son from school, so I have to pull it together. He can't see me like this, right? So I'm in the midst of picking him up, picking up myself, because I have to go and pick him up. And I get a phone call from my colleague, and she goes, "Are you okay?" She said, "God told me to call you and check on you."
Are you serious?
I swear. And I was like, what? And so now I'm back to bawling and crying again. And she called me, and she came to see me. We didn't have too much time to meet, because I had to go pick up my son. It was from the bus stop. And I call it my encounter with God, and he saved me, because I was literally losing my mind. And that's why I try to put him first in everything that I do. I'm not perfect. Yeah. And I know that I still have, like, a lot of work to do. Yeah. But it wasn't me, or wasn't going crazy. I just needed more of him in my life, and I need to put him first in my life. Yeah. So I'm still a work in progress.
We all are a work in progress.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you know it, it's the most important thing you get, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people don't even know that, God always comes first.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a beautiful story. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
That call,
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, we check up on your friends, man. Just God might not send. Even you think about it, that's God sending you. You get it, right? The fact that they came to your mind is just a proof that God is saying something. You don't have to wait to hear God's voice and say, "Hey, look, he called me."
Yeah. She's my angel. She definitely, because I think I fired that therapist because it was just like something's not right, But thank God, like, he sent Dawn, and I'm a whole new person now.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like therapy did a lot for you.
Yes.
Shout out to therapy.
Akilana.
And shout out to you for doing what you needed to do to get back up on your feet,
Yes.
It's one thing to fall and stay there, and another to fall and rise back up, and you've risen and I know you can share how many times you've fallen, but thanks for
a bunch of them.
Thanks for always falling, because thanks for always getting back up. Right? Thanks for always.
Yeah, it's part of life. Is what I'm starting to realize. Like life is gonna have its ups and downs. You're gonna fall, and the goal is that when you do fall, the next time you set yourself up so that you're not falling as low as you did the first time.
Yeah,
that's what I'm seeing.
That is true.
I don't know if it's true for everybody, but that's what I'm seeing.
That's a beautiful message, So the next time you fall, you don't fall as low as you fell, or else what did you learn from it? You understand, right?
Yeah, because it's like you every time you have to get up and you're like, oh my God, I'm doing this again.
But if you fell here and now you're here, it's like, okay, rising up is not that bad.
It's not so bad.
It's not so bad. And then next time you fall here, and then it's like,
you're still climbing.
You're still climbing. Yeah. And that's what a lot of life, happens. You get right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
For sure.
So, what are some skills that? Let's go back to real estate, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So, what are some skills and things that you think someone that, let's say, I want to go into real estate.
Okay.
What are some skills that you think I would need to succeed in the real estate world that has helped you?
So what I've seen from working in real estate, and especially, like I said, I lean on my team a lot.
Yeah.
Just being yourself, right? So the reason why people are going to connect with me and why they connect with you are going to be different reasons, right? So just being yourself so you can provide that avenue.
Gotcha.
For someone to say, oh, I want to work with Lucky, or I feel comfortable with Lucky. Because, like I said, with real estate, you can't learn it all, right? There's some things that you're going to help to create. Like what happens when house catches fire after an accepted offer. Like no one else had experienced that before, right?
First-hand experiences.
But when a person feels like they can connect to you and then trust you and then say, hey, you know what? Lucky or whoever is going to get me through this the best way possible. Connect me with the right attorneys. The right inspectors, and, the right plumber, because we have to, get a plumber, just to use that as an example. My clients trusted me, and that's because they could connect with me because we had things in common. We came from the same community. So just being able to present yourself in the best light possible, just honor yourself.
That's really cool. It's really cool. So there's this video that I'm gonna play for us. Okay. So it's not about you.
Okay.
It's something I heard on YouTube and it says you can buy a house with zero down.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's true, but it sounds so good to be true.
Okay.
And sitting with you, I want to play it and you hear it and tell if this process is actually true and what are the side effects of it. Maybe there's they might not tell us on the video. You get right. So let me just quickly play it for us. It's probably like a minute.
Called triple digit flip. What does he do? His secret is called creative financing. And we're going to find out exactly what that means today. And is it even legal? Do you want to learn about sub 2 in the fastest way humanly possible? How fast do you think we can do this, Grace?
A minute, probably.
Okay, 60 seconds to figure out how to buy a house with $0 down. Let's see if you can do it.
Okay, cool. So I've got a house. The seller lives in this house. The seller has two things. They have a mortgage, separate document, and they also have a deed. A deed is a receipt of ownership, two completely separate documents. I, Pace, or maybe you watching this in the video, where I would go to find a deal like this is I would call sellers that are on expired listings, people who have already tried to sell their house but real estate agents failed to do so. We call this seller and we say, hey, looks like you tried to sell your house unsuccessfully. I'd love to just give you an offer of taking over the mortgage payments. Are you open to that? And I'd say 80% of the time, the answer is yes. Oh my gosh, I would love to do that. I do a lot of these stories on my YouTube channel. The seller says, how does that work? I go, well, the mortgage stays in your name. You move out of the house, and the deed gets transferred to my name through a title company. The title company issues insurance to make sure that all the paperwork was done and everything was done legally. I now have official ownership. The owner of that property is now gone. They are no longer creative finance. No credit has ever been pulled. You don't have to have credentials, right? When you go and you get a mortgage at a company, what do they ask for? A bank. They go, what's your W-2? What's your tax returns? What? Blah, 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 blah. Never have given any of that away. And then I also very frequently don't use any cash or any of my own cash, depending on it. I'd probably say 20% of the deals I do no cash, and 80% of the deals I do require cash, but I use somebody else's. This is where real estate deals get done.
So yes, you get the video, right?
I get the video, and it reminds me of what the banks were doing, the reverse mortgage. But I didn't hear him say anything about paying the seller. He said that the seller would leave.
Yeah.
The seller would give the deed in his name.
Yeah.
He would pay the mortgage, but what does the seller get?
Yeah.
So there's definitely a trick there. He's trying to like reel you in. It sounds like the reverse mortgage where the banks would, same thing, take ownership.
Yeah.
But they would pay the sellers monthly.
Yeah.
Everything else that he said was true about when you have a mortgage, you have the payment that you have to make, you have the deed where you're the owner of the property.
Yeah.
And then there is such a thing as expired listings where properties don't sell right away, or for whatever reason, maybe they were priced too high, priced too low. You can target those. So it's not as easy as it seems to target those people, because sometimes they're on public records, sometimes they're not. It's more of hunting them down to get their contact information, especially if they don't live at the house. If they live at the house, they might be offended because tons of people are knocking at their door like, hey, do you still want to sell? And they're like all pissed off because like, leave me alone. There are programs out there, I can say that, like the OnePlus Boston program, where they're helping you with like up to $50,000 to buy, and you don't have to use as much of your own money, but you should always try to save some of your money. A lot of the programs ask that you have at least, I want to say around $5,000. The programs vary, and they're always changing. But there are people who've done it. They've bought without using their own funds. So yes, to answer your question, yes, it's possible.
Okay.
But that way, it might be like more towards like an investor or something like that have a lot of money to put cash up front.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person where I like to be fair. I don't want to be out there like taking advantage of old people. Like, here, go away. I did not hear what he was giving the sellers.
Yeah,
I didn't hear what do they get out of it.
Yeah,
you know, and it should be like a give and take.
Give and take. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that, because I've come across that video and I've been hearing that zero down for a home and all that, and I just really wanted to hear from the horse's mouth. I mean, it's not your story, but
that's my take on it.
Okay,
that's my take on it.
Okay.
It can be done, but maybe not that easy.
Not that easy. Not as easy as it's been.
Yeah.
I mean, it's YouTube. They'll do it for the views,
For the views, right? And the clicks and the shares.
And But really, when you started, you realize that it's harder than it looks.
It's harder than it's looks. And like what we were saying earlier, like everything that's worth it is going to take some hard work. So just save your money, start there. And then when I connect you with the lender will be able to say, and make sure your credit is on point too, right? Save your money, and while you're saving your money, take care of your credit. Because the higher the credit score, the better the rate you're going to be able to get, and the more programs that you'll qualify for.
Yeah. Great. What's a good credit score for housing,
so that's something that's always changing as well. It had gone as far down as a 640, and then I think it came back up to a 680, but I never recommend my buyers to go with the lowest score.
What's the lowest score you've ever dealt with?
That's a tough one, because that's something that's more like banking, on the lender's side. And my lenders they're going to tell you like, hey, pay this off. Put $2,000 here. Bring your score up so you can get a better rate on this 30-year loan. You know what I mean? You never want to go with the lowest. So you do your best. And then we'll kind of like walk you through to like put you in a good place.
Yes. Take like a year and work on your credit score,
Yeah.
Just to save you years in it.
And even if you want to like reach out before or when you start that year, you don't have to feel like you're doing it alone.
Yeah.
Because some people, they come to me and they're like, oh my God, my credit sucks. And I'm just like, what's your score? And they're like 720. I'm like, no, it doesn't.
If I had 720, oh man.
And then other people will be like, yeah, I have good credit. And they're like, you're like a 4. And I'm like, so, you know. Just come as you are.
Just come as you are.
Yeah, and then we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, I guess.
Figure it out. It can always. That the good thing about the credit is it can be changed. It can be fixed.
Yeah. So guys, calm down, okay? She said, "Come as you are," which is something very important that you get, right? Because a lot of people out there judging themselves. You understand, right? Over judging. Even the ones that probably have a good score, still thinking it's not good enough.
It's not good enough.
Yeah. So just come as you are, and then they'll find the fit for you.
Yeah. Yep. And that's why I like working with a mortgage broker versus a bank.
Yeah.
Because they have various programs that they can work with depending on where you are.
Yeah.
Versus with the banks, they're stuck usually to the 1 or 2, maybe 3 products that they have to use.
Yeah. What's a good mortgage broker that you would recommend?
I have a few of them.
Yeah.
I have a few of them. And it's good to... not keep all your, what is that saying?
Eggs in one basket.
Yes, yes. But for sure, a mortgage broker. And I have my favorite. So like I said, I'll connect you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And now we're coming down. We're almost done, okay? But there's a few questions about social media. I see you post a lot on social media about your business and all that. And the question is like, in this age of social media and online presence, how important is digital marketing for real estate agents and agencies in 2023? Are there any specific places you post about your business, and how's that helped you?
It's so important. It's so important, and I'm going to be honest and say, like, I should post more.
Post more.
Yeah, I definitely should post more because it's the way of the world now.
It is.
Everything is online and everything is social media, and I struggle with that too. I'm really old school, so I didn't even know when I first got my license that there was a Facebook app. My broker kept telling me, he's like, you gotta go live, you gotta go live, you gotta go live. And finally I was all frustrated. I was like, mine doesn't go live. And it was because I was on Facebook from Safari.
Oh, yeah,
the app. I didn't have the app. He had to download the app for me so that I could go live. And I was so nervous. But I got a lot of business. I get a lot of business from social media. I get a lot of business from social media. It's a joke in the real estate world that, your friends and your family very rarely recommend you. So you have to get out there and get your own business.
It is true.
So I got a lot, especially in the beginning. A lot of the business was from social media. So you definitely need to feel comfortable presenting yourself that way.
Gotcha. And what it is do you think you should be doing that you're not doing on social media?
Just like with everything else, just being consistent, consistently posting. I mentioned to you that we have our meetings. Well, I said we have trainings. We have weekly meetings where they're just bringing new information.
Wow.
Okay. So for me, one thing that I said that I wanted to do and I haven't done yet is just pick 3 points from the meeting, make a 30-second video
of it,
post it, and just show the people that, I am current in the market. I know the changes. I'm changing with them, and then that will help with the trust. They're going to say, hey, she knows what's going on. Versus keeping that, my broker always says, why are you keeping it to yourself?
To yourself, yeah. I've been struggling with that too. Now you're going to hate me, but
your page looks awesome though. You're always posting.
I'm always posting. But no, there's something about, you said the videos and using your voice, you get, right?
Yes.
You build, it's captions. Captions don't speak the way you feel.
Yes.
You get, right? Videos,
it's voice, when people feel like they can connect.
They can connect, you get, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I've been leaning towards, dropping not just workout videos, but something that involves me expressing how I feel on something, so people can relate with, and you get. So that's why I'm saying me too. I
see that. Like we said, there's always room to improve. So what I've been doing is voiceover.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So the video would be separate, and then do the voiceover. I'm a little bit more comfortable doing that.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So hopefully maybe that can help you too.
Yeah, I like that. So I don't want to talk too much about social media, but like, are you interested in like working with someone to help build your online presence, or you think you got it?
I guess I'll be open to it.
It's not like I know someone. But if you guys are listening, you guys can, you know, you can help a builder, you know.
Yeah, I'm definitely open. I try to be open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. So how can people, you know, reach out to you? How can people be part of your business? How can people, you know, support you, you know?
Okay, so I hope you'll tag me in the video, but I'm Miss Real Estate Doris on Instagram, and on Facebook I'm Doris Christina, CRYSTINA, gotcha. And Doris is just DORIS, and you'll see me, my profile, and there you can connect with me via email, text message,
everything. Yeah,
all of my stuff is public. And so, yeah, you can DM me or email me, I guess you could say.
All of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like your Instagram handle. It says Miss Real Estate. Miss Real Estate. You're like the Miss of Real Estate. Yes. So if you got any real estate concerns, she's the one. She got you.
Come my way.
Come my way.
And if I can't help you, like I said, I have a fabulous team that I can rely on. So, yeah.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. So 5 years from now, or what's the goal for Doris? You know, like 5 years goal for Doris. You know, where you trying to be 5 years from now?
This was not in the list of questions.
You know, you're the only one I send the questions to. I never, but it's always something surprising. You know,
5 years from now,
yeah,
I would definitely, as far as real estate goes, I would definitely like to see myself with my broker's license.
Gotcha.
Not saying that I'm leaving Thumbprint, because I love Thumbprint, and I'm happy where I am there.
Yeah.
But I would also like to see myself as an investor with my own properties that are bringing in income. Yeah. Those two.
How does the investment part of it work too?
You got to be fearless.
Gotcha.
You got to be fearless and take a chance. Like we said to the first-time home buyers, saving your money, having your credit score ready, and you're doing the same thing on the investment side, so that when there's an opportunity that arises, you can jump on it. And it might seem risky in the beginning, and it's probably going to be hard.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to have to do like construction and to get something affordable in the city, that's probably going to be the case. But it's going to be mostly, I would say, preparing yourself so that you're ready when the opportunity arises.
Yeah, that's true.
Making the smart choices so that once you've done it, you can do it again and again. The first one's going to be the hardest one. I know that. But then once you have that one,
you become a habit.
Yeah. And then also thinking outside, like Boston's home for me. I've been born and raised here. But where the market is so saturated, I know I'm going to have to like venture out to like other states too, where it's a little bit less competitive, but it's still going to be something that I can have in my portfolio.
Yeah, that's lovely. Lovely. So last question.
Okay.
Yes. You ready?
I hope so.
This was not in the questions that I sent you to. Okay. This is the icing on the cake.
Okay.
So if you could sit with that Doris years ago, lost 2 business and was in that situation and, you know, was going through all that, and advise her, what advice would you give to her?
Wow, this is really therapy now, huh? I would Venmo say, me for session. I would say to her, don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself, because just don't. It's not worth it. And hold on. I would say your drive is what makes you special. So protect it. Hold on to it.
Oh, gotcha.
Protect it.
Your drive.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
I like that one. Your drive is what makes you special. I see the last question, but I want to know, what's your drive?
I'm tapping in, right?
Yeah.
So I would say that the drive came from just being fearless. Like I never, because it's like, it's me, right? But now we're going back to then, right? And I just never had any fear that I couldn't accomplish anything.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I think that's part of what, because, you know, if I'm being honest, I feel like I could be further off than where I am now.
Yeah.
And letting go of that drive would probably be a big part of it.
Gotcha.
Like if I trip, that doesn't mean I fell. You know, you just keep going.
Keep going. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Just gonna end it here.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say anything. Even if I want to say, even if I have to say something, but I'm just gonna, you know, I'll save that conversation for another time. You know, I want Doris to be back again, so I don't want to
do a part 2.
I don't want to bombard her with all the questions.
We'll do a part 2, and that'll keep me on my toes.
Doris, you know, I want to sit with you again.
Okay.
And you know, we'll listen to this podcast and like, you know, because you said 5 years from now, beautiful dreams, and you know, I'm not surprised. I think you're going to achieve all the goals that you've said.
Thank you.
Because you said the drive in you, that's the special thing about you. That's how you put it. And I think I like that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I want to say thank you so much for coming on today's episode.
My pleasure.
Thanks for bringing your boy. I know it was difficult for you, but you brought the whole family.
Yeah, my little guy.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for accommodating him, and thank you for all the interesting questions in the platform.
Thank you. And also shout out to you. What's it? Thumbprint
Realty.
Yeah.
Alex E. Edwards.
For the great job
Joanna Edwards.
Shout out to
Tanisha McDonald, mommy. Yeah, and just everybody who has supported me along the way. I really, really, really appreciate you.
Yes, sir. And also shout out to you guys for, you know, sticking with us through this amazing time. I think this is a great one. I want to listen to this podcast again. But till then, guys, have an amazing week. And don't forget, man, if you trip, doesn't mean you fell. You know, from Doris's word, put that at the back of your mind, man. You trip, doesn't mean you fell. And have that fear that you can do anything, you know, and just go make it happen.
Absolutely.
So with that said, stay blessed.